Welcome back to another episode of Big Movie Mouth Off, the show where three Salt Lake City-based critics mix it up about movies. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
This is episode 20.
It's time for us to start our engines.
I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you so much for being on this journey with me. 20 episodes may not be a lot to the listeners, but to us, it's a lifetime. We've put a lot into this, and I just want to thank you both for sticking with me on this. I'm so proud of the fact that we're at 20 episodes.
Yeah,
hey, if movies can have a 20th anniversary, we can celebrate a 20th episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks for having us here. And we're only one episode away from being able to drink.
Is it bad that I've been drinking on most of the episodes up till now?
I think I have two.
Brooks
Brooks
Can't believe I'm
person,
not.
So.
Okay, so one little disclaimer. Adam's voice may not be in its full flower right now because we had Pride Parade as we record just this last weekend, and he did a lot of shouting, didn't you, Adam?
Yes, I did. I was in the parade, and that thing is long, and I came home sunburnt all the heck, and I use sunscreen. So if my dulcet tones aren't quite NPR ready, I do apologize.
It's okay.
For the greater good.
Absolutely. Happy Pride to Adam. All right. So special episode. We're going to only talk about one film, Furiosa. We mentioned it in our last episode, how excited we were. We've all seen it. We've got a lot to say about it. This is a franchise I think is near and dear to all of our hearts. We all were so incredibly in love with Mad Max Fury Road. So before Adam gives us the synopsis, even though his voice isn't great, he's going to run us through what this movie is about. Before he does that, though, here's a little bit of the trailer.
As a child, my world was forever changed. My mother was magnificent. And he took it all from me.
Who do we have here?
She's from a place of abundance. This is our destiny.
My childhood, my mother, I want them back. I want them back.
Okay, Adam, tell us what Furiosa is about.
Okay, so this takes place decades before Fury Road. We run into a very young Furiosa at the green place of many mothers. She starts out being played by Alila Brown. She gets kidnapped by two bikers, part of Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth's biker gang. And he takes her. Her mom chases after her to get her back. And basically, Dementis wants to find out where this green place of abundance really is. She doesn't give it to him, though, so he kind of takes her and keeps her as part of his biker gang. Later on, he realizes, hey, this isn't going to happen. So he goes and tries to take over the Citadel, which is controlled by Immortan Joe, played by Lashy Hum. And again, I'm probably butchering these names, so my apologies. That doesn't work out well because guess what? The Citadel is very well guarded. So he makes a deal to take control of Gastown. In exchange, he gives Immortan Joe Furiosa to become one of his wives to hopefully bear him a son. Unfortunately, though, for Immortan Joe, she escapes and she hides among the mechanics as a boy for the next 15 years or so, and reemerges as Anya Taylor-Joy, who now becomes what we know as an Imperator, or she's training to become one, and drive his war rig around and work on learning the skills she needs to get revenge against Dementis, who destroyed her and her mother's life.
All right, Brooks, is it important that people see Fury Road before they see this movie, in your opinion?
Yes and no. That's actually one of my favorite things about the movie is that George Miller, with this being like basically a sequel to the first three and a prequel to Fury Road, and it's kind of like a big mashup of all of the franchise. And so it's like if you haven't seen the old ones, that's okay because Mad Max isn't in it necessarily. And
easy.
But I mean, it is all building up to Fury Road. So I mean, there are some things that pay off that you need to see the movie for it to mean anything. But I think in general, you could go in pretty blind.
Well, you've set me up perfectly for my first question for the two of you, which is Fury Road is the story. It's a Mad Max story, but it's really more about Furiosa, played by Charlize Theron. And she is, as Adam said, one of the drivers of the war rig for Immortan Joe. But the movie starts with her attempting to basically free all of his wives. So she's a savior figure. She's a messiah figure in the Fury Road movie. Do you think this movie, Furiosa, earns its place setting up Charlize Theron's incredible portrayal?
Not completely. I think that's the only stumbling block is the end of the movie. Feels like it maybe needed another scene, some kind of segue, because all of a sudden it just jumps from one point of Furiosa to that, but there's no real explanation as to why. I mean, as long as the movie was, it would have been nice to see how it happens.
So you felt like there was something missing to connect these two films?
A little bit at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Just that last little bit.
Adam, what's your take on that?
So going back to if we should have watched Fury Road before this, now Clark had never seen Fury Road. So he went to us with Furiosa, and then, well, because I saw it a second time, of course, because it's amazing. And then we watched Fury Road afterwards. And I mean, he liked it. It wasn't really his cup of tea for either one of them. He said they were good movies, but not to the level that I enjoy them. And
Doesn't he say that about everything?
Yeah.
pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
My recommendation, though, is if you have not seen Fury Road, go see Furiosa first, because the biggest naysayers I'm seeing online or with people we know or peers or this kind of stuff is that, oh, it's not Fury Road. I'm like, it's not supposed to be Fury Road.
No.
No, it's
No,
not.
this is a much more intimate story of her and where she came from. There's a lot of payoffs in Fury Road. Like when you get to certain scenes and you're like, well, I don't understand that. Well, now we do. So if you go in wanting, just end-to-end action from start to finish, you're not going to get that. And there are some quiet moments in Fury Road, don't get me wrong, but it really is nonstop action set pieces. Whereas this is more of, there's a ton of action. There's some cool stuff you're going to love, but it's not Fury Road. And if you go in expecting that, you're going to be disappointed, hands down. There's no way around that.
It's a big movie with an intimate story.
And we've talked about this before.
I mean, the very last episode, we talked about small stories being told in big worlds.
Mhm.
And I said the Planet of the Apes movie didn't really succeed in telling a small story in that bigger world. You disagreed with me, Adam. And I think I'm starting to see in Furiosa what you meant. Am I wrong?
No, I would definitely say that's true, because you can still have this grandiose, like, the Mad Max world, the Wastelands, and we don't know what's outside Australia, by the way. There could be green places of abundance everywhere else. I doubt there is.
There could be the internet. We don't know.
Right. We do have to go through Mad Max to get to Star Trek. So, keep that in mind. But yeah, you can have a very small, intimate story on that grand stage, but this does it a ton better than Apes did, which they tried, and they tried. We'll give them that.
For a really long time.
We'll give them a participation trophy, a really tall one to make up for the hour and a half that you don't need to be there. But no, it's like, this is what it should have been. So I think if this would have come out 2 years ago and the people behind Apes saw this, maybe it could have influenced them to do it better. But then George Miller's always been an impeccable storyteller. Like, he builds stories on, incredible things, makes them very intimate. It can make them big and bombastic, but he's always coming back to telling a story and not just blowing stuff up and having explosions.
We'll get to George Miller after the break, but I want to talk a little bit more about how this movie sets up Fury Road, even though Fury Road came first. Is Anya Taylor-Joy the right person to be a proto Charlize Theron? I say absolutely yes. I think she is a scene stealer. I think physically she's got the chops, and my God, those eyes, honestly, it's like Attila Battle Angel when her eyes are just, they don't seem human. Her eyes are so big and so expressive. So I think she's very well cast as the person who becomes Charlize Theron, which we all agree was maybe one of the most perfect castings in the history of action films. So what do you guys think about Anya Taylor-Joy as the person who gets us to Charlize Theron? Brooks?
I totally agree. I mean, she's always been just a fantastic actress. She's never let us down. Even in New Mutants, she managed to steal scenes. If anyone else besides me has seen it.
I own it, but haven't seen it. I've owned it on digital since it came out, but I've not seen it yet.
I liked it. I didn't hate it. It's a Fox X-Men movie. That's all you need to know. But anyway.
Well, but Brooks, so Charlize Theron has this thing, this physicality, this presence about her that we've not only seen in her portrayal of Furiosa, but we saw in Atomic Blonde. We've seen it in other things. Do you feel like Anya Taylor-Joy embodies that as well?
Yeah, and then they also gave her time to grow into that. Like, it wasn't just that she was automatically Furiosa from start to finish, but just a couple, maybe 10 years younger.
That's one of the interesting things about this movie. She is Furiosa at the very beginning because one of her friends calls her that.
Well,
for,
yeah,
but for the entire middle stretch of the movie, no one really knows that's her name. So
true.
she's only that on the inside. And Adam, what do you think about her in that role?
Oh no, she's amazing. Like again, like Brooke said, I've loved everything she's in. She's never let us down. I think she's a powerhouse of an actor, and she becomes Charlize Theron. Like at the end of the movie, like when she finally, shaves her head and gets the whole like the grease on her head and stuff. If you were to body swap her and Charlize Theron, like you'd have the same performance. I think I've talked before about how we look at some of our up and coming Gen Z actors or like, early millennials and wondering where they're going to be in 10 or 15 years compared to where the actors we have now were 15 years ago. And I think we're in for a treat. And I believe fully that these people are going to take all of our expectations for acting and make them better. Just as like you look at, classic movies from the 50s and 60s, they had these award-winning performances and they're still great, but compare that to where we are now, just because of what we learned with script writing, the way we direct movies. But no, she's fantastic. And she only has 30 lines of dialogue in this movie, much the same as Max did in the last one. But I think it was you, Counts, who brought up the way she stares at the screen. And I'm sorry, but there were some moments I had to look away. Like she has that fierce, like, I'm going to murder you because I hate you glare. And that stuck with me. But one thing I will kind of go back to that I disagree with is like, she has always been Furiosa because for the first, and this is, well, maybe it's a spoiler, but the first hour of the movie, she is played by Alia Brown.
Right.
Like she doesn't come in as Anya Taylor-Joy till later on, and she's kicking butt and doing everything and like surviving and everything else she can that whole time. I think we're looking more when she becomes the Imperator Furiosa.
Yeah.
Because 100% she's always been Furiosa, and we even catch that later on when she was raised in this matriarchal society. That's where her psychological instincts come from, and her desire to promote the well-being of woman. And that's why she steals away Immortan Joe's wives in Fury Road. So I think the character of Furiosa never changes. It's always there as far as being who she is, but she does morph and have that character arc to become the Imperator.
She does.
An evolution.
I think the point I'm making, Adam, is that she's enough hidden within herself for the middle hour of this movie that her colleagues, for lack of a better word, in Immortan Joe's war engine, think she's a boy. Like
she pulls off a boy too.
She does. So she's completely sublimating and hiding her true self for a lot of the first act and a half to this movie. It's not until she becomes, as you say, one of the drivers of the war rig in training that we really start to see the Furiosa character come out. And I feel like Anya Taylor-Joy was the perfect actor to take that range and make it work within George Miller's incredible visual palette. And like I said, we'll come back to George Miller after the break. I don't want to get into that now because it's a topic all its own. But what about the rest of the cast, Brooks? How did you feel about Chris Hemsworth's portrayal as Dementus? First of all, I'll say for myself, I don't understand why you had to have a fake nose. I don't get it. Maybe Miller didn't want him to look like himself. I really don't understand. But what did you think about the casting aside from the fake nose?
I thought he was great because he's shown us in the Marvel movies that he can be both ways, Mr. Furious or hilarious. It goes both ways. And in this one, he gets to do both. So I think he was perfectly cast. He's big and overpowering, but he's got that Hemsworth charisma going too.
He's funny, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Adam, don't you love it when these Australian actors get to actually use their own accent? Isn't that just the best?
Oh, it's fun when anyone gets to use their own accent because we get used to hearing. So like Tom Holland, for instance, we only ever heard his American accent. And like, if you didn't know better, you wouldn't know he's British. Right. And so you go watch him on like the Graham Norton show and you're like, oh, okay.
It's very jarring.
But it's just cool where it's like, hey, this takes place in Australia. You get to be yourself. And yeah, he is over the top. Like he's having so much fun with this character. And even as much as his character at first is almost like a Christ-like character, and we'll come back to that later when I go into my TED Talk, watching him evolve, not just from this funny character who's still like very maniacal to being this huge, just there's no good points left in me. There's nothing that will redeem me, anything else. And that happens pretty early on, but they still kind of let him have that humor. And then towards the end of the movie, he's just washed out and he plays it perfectly. So I love that he's having fun. I love what he brought to the character. And I do enjoy wearing my Dementus shirt I got from the screening everywhere I go because the people who know are very excited to see it. So
I
What
wish I'd gotten that shirt.
do you guys agree that Dementis as a character was allowed to grow and have an arc similar to Furiosa's in this film?
I think it's kind of the opposite, where Furiosa turns into this complete, badass for
And he degenerates. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think he has like some gray hair going.
Right.
He's very haggard looking.
Right.
He's very clumsy.
Right.
It's perfect.
They sort of pass each other on the way towards an emotional
Yeah.
maturity. Adam, what do you think about Hemsworth's arc as a character?
well, it's interesting because it's kind of like he got everything he ever wanted, right? So like I don't think we ever expected to see in a Mad Max film trade negotiations going on.
Right.
But that's what he does
Right.
with with Immortan Joe. And so he gets what he wants, but then you realize there's a difference between the types of leadership that like he and Immortan Joe have, because Immortan Joe has a firm like hold of every single person. And I loved that there's that one scene where he tells the war boy to jump and the war boy does it, because we know how fanatical they are, but you never really get that he gives that exact order in Fury Road. So he's got that control because he actually is, we're not going to say a good leader, but he's a good manager. He manages things very, very well. And then we give, Dementis full reign over Gastown, and he has no clue what to do because he's always managed maybe 100, 200 people. And there's a scene where they go there and everyone's rioting. They're shooting flamethrowers at people. It's just a complete mess because
madness.
Yeah, exactly. Complete madness because you gave someone who is technically, I'd say emotionally a child, all this responsibility, and they had no clue what to do with it. And it wears on him faster than anything else. I mean, like we all age, all of us here have some gray in our beard or, less hair than we used to have, but we didn't age as fast as he did. Because when you think about the fact that it was at most 15 years since we saw her as a child and saw her as an adult, like people don't age that fast, even in that hellscape that they live in. I mean, yeah, people age, but you could just see the toil and the terror of the years just like weighting him down like crazy. And I think he did a great job portraying it. It took that toll on him. And maybe sometimes it's like, the monkey paw, you make your wish, but you get what you want, but not how you want it.
Yeah. Well, I think we all agree this movie is really well cast. Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth in particular are perfectly situated in their roles, and the arcs are super compelling. Let's take a little break. When we come back, we'll dive into the direction of the film. And I know, Adam, you have some thoughts about some big picture thematic ideals in this.
He's going to enlighten me.
He is going to enlighten both of us. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back for more Furiosa. We're back on Big Movie Mouth Off. We're excited to still talk about Furiosa. I want to talk to you guys about George Miller's direction. And I want to start the conversation from a visual standpoint, because shot for shot, angle for angle, there's not a better scene setter working in Hollywood right now than George Miller. There might be people that are as good, but there's nobody better than him. He creates worlds in a way that is unbelievably believable.
Heck, mate, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Brooks. Exactly.
He creates a world and he builds these like rules and these layers to it. And we've talked before about people building worlds that they break the rules. And that's
the internal consistency. Right.
And you feel like this could actually exist. Sometimes, and because he uses so little CGI, and we'll come back to that because I've got a thing about this.
Yeah. Great. Yep.
He tries to use everything that's so practical and so that actually exists. Like, again, if you said, hey, I'm going to show you a documentary about the War Boys, and you did one, and I was like, oh, this is real, I wouldn't be surprised one bit, because he's such a good job at setting that up. And of course, it's the way he films it. Like, he doesn't linger too much on close-ups. He likes his wide shots. He wants to show you everything that's happening, but then he can zoom in right on the action, and you feel like you're going to get punched in the face because they might miss and hit you instead. So as far as visual storytelling, like you said, counts, I can't think of anyone who would surpass him. And I mean that with the greats. I'm talking about Spielberg, Scorsese. Like, he is
Nolan,
the master. Nolan, even. And I love Nolan. We all worship at his throne, but no one does what Miller does. And think about the fact that he started out as a doctor.
Yeah.
He made Mad Max because he was in the outback patching up kids who were jumping their bikes. And he's like, what if this happened like 5,000 years from now when the world was destroyed? That's how Mad Max happened. But just the fact that you'd have someone who has no experience move forward and become this brilliant filmmaker is just stunning.
Do you think, Brooks, that the fact that this is George Miller's original idea from decades ago, do you think that lends the credibility I'm talking about, the believability?
I think so, yeah, because he's been sitting on it for so long. He's had time to, mull over it a million times if he needs to, and he's just massaged it into perfection from start to finish. No matter, I mean, there's also Thunderdome, but
It's true.
Well, no one's perfect.
I will say, in terms of nobody's perfect, like I'm imagining a scenario where George Lucas had George Miller's chops and never let anyone else take the reins of his beloved franchise.
you could never hand these movies off to someone else.
No way. I agree.
Ever.
Well, it's also, I know we brought this up when we were doing the UFCA voting. We're talking about Poor Things for Best Director, and I brought up, Yorgos Lanthimos is the only director who could do this.
Yeah.
And one of our friends kind of said, well, that's the same with a lot of people like, Spielberg or Scorsese, we already mentioned, but there are certain directors who have such a visual flair and an eye for how they want things to play out that no, you could never have anyone else do this the same way. And Lanthimos is one I mentioned, and I think some of them are like, George Miller. There are those directors that have or Nolan. There's certain directors that have such a keen eye for what they want to do and how they want to present it that you could still get the same movie with the exact same script and everything else and give it to someone else, and the result would be so different. It would almost be unrecognizable. Like if you gave this to Michael Bay, can you imagine what we'd have? It would have been a 5-hour movie and half of it would have been slow-mo.
Yeah. A lot of dolly work for sure. One of the things I love about his work is because there's so much car and motorcycle stuff that you are kind of forced to be practical about the effects. And he leans into that pretty heavily. There's a lot of practical work in this. There's a few moments where he decides to do something with CGI. There's a moment at the very beginning, and I'm just gonna say it because it doesn't spoil the story in any way, but it's when one of the people at the beginning runs and jumps onto a horse. And that moment is the most god-awful CGI. I don't know why he did that. And I think there's a couple moments like that, right, Adam, where the CGI really betrays the great work of the rest of the film.
And see, this is one thing I don't understand, because if you look at Fury Road, and even though I said you really shouldn't compare the two as far as the story and the pace goes, you have to when it comes to the filmmaking aspects. Everything in Fury Road was a practical effect. Now, was there CGI? Yes, but
Of
it was
course,
like
there always
they're
is.
going they're going through a valley and they added more mountains around the valley.
Right.
But like a really infamous moment from that film is when they're on the polecats and they're jumping back and forth onto the cars. George Miller himself said, "This is too dangerous. I'm not going to do it." And then all the stunt people and everything else got up one day before he woke up, went and filmed it all, and then came back and showed him the footage. And he's like, "You guys are crazy."
He said, we can do it. Yeah.
So that was really what was confusing here, because there was more CGI than he's ever had before.
Yeah.
And it was actually done to replace physical stunts and not just to enhance the background. And there's one unnecessary cameo. Those are my only two problems with this movie. Now, did it detract at all from my enjoyment? Absolutely not. There is not, well, I would say there probably is a perfect movie, but there really isn't a perfect movie. You're going to find one or two things that are like, why did they do that? But yeah, the CGI, that was my biggest complaint, because you didn't need it before. Why do we need it now?
Yeah.
Brooks, did those moments ruin anything for you? Or did they just were they jarring because of how great everything else is?
I think it was just that they were so noticeable.
Yeah.
It didn't like take me out of it
Yes.
or ruin anything, but they stick out like a sore thumb, because
They
you know
do.
you expect everything to be so practical. And so then when you're slapped with some wonky CGI section, you're like, what was that? But then I guess it just moves along anyway. And so you really don't even have time to think about it, but they're there and you do notice them.
One of the things that makes a George Miller movie work is the fact that they're not terribly chatty. I love that about them. The scripts are very tight, like super concentrated. Hemsworth character monologues a lot, and he maybe is a little bit more verbose than other characters in George Miller's films. But even with him added into the math, it's still, compared to other movies, a very tight, very concise, very unchatty script. What do you guys think about the script? Adam, I know you have some thoughts on that.
Let's just wind him up and let him go.
Exactly. Let's let
Wind me
Adam.
up and let me go. So
Here we go.
Brooks
Here
and
we
I
go,
are
yeah.
now going to mute ourselves. Go, Adam.
So I think one thing we need to keep in mind with this is that these are tales of the wasteland. These are fables that are passed down from generation to generation. And that's why we look at Max from Fury Road. There is no way, based on the timelines and everything else put into place, that this is the Max who was in the first three.
Right.
He'd be like 70 years old. And even if you look at this movie itself, it opens with the history man who's got all the tattoos of the stories all over his body. He's our narrator. He's telling us this, and the whole movie, he's like, when he's with Furiosa, he's whispering in her ear and telling her things. And at the very end of the movie itself, it's like, well, we don't really know what happened to Dementis. And he presents like almost like Lord of the Rings ending from Return of the King. And he's like, but I heard her whisper it to me one time, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So these are stories being told over campfires or like burning carcasses of people or like a crashed car that's sitting there. These are meant to be fables and stories. And do we even know if Furiosa or Max even existed? Are these just boogeyman stories we tell our kids because, that's how we replay things. We pass them down like a game of telephone. So, and if you look at that, like that's a really interesting way to view the story because of the fact that we only have unreliable narrators. And it's almost more present in this with the history man than it was with anything else. And the story itself, too, is very, very allegorical. Like, if you look at the very beginning of it, you have ties to Adam and Eve in the garden where she picks the peach. And what happens? Bad things start happening. She gets taken away. But you do have a very strong matriarchal approach to it. You almost have a backwards version of Samson in the fact that she gains power when she loses her hair, both as a child and as an adult. And even saying that, I mean, this is just filled with references to like the Iliad and the Odyssey. Like, how do they get into Gastown? With a Trojan horse. How does her, as a Praetor Jack, he dies, but I mean, well, we're going to give it away. He dies exactly the same way that Achilles kills Hector back in the Iliad, beset by dogs kind of thing. So when you look at all these influences, and we could spend hours going over the illusions and how it's tied to modern theology and worshiping a certain really pale-faced, disgusting-looking guy with like bad blonde hair. There's things that are being tied together that I've heard some people say that, hey, it's not deep. I mean, no, you can go into it and enjoy it so much as a very well done action film with some really intimate moments with Furiosa. But you can, if you want to, you can go deeper. I'll never forget when I saw Fury Road with a buddy of mine, went to my friend's house and we literally sat there giddy as schoolgirls for 3 hours, like nonstop. We were just in the corner going back and forth about the philosophy and the religion of the war boys, who worship the V8 and Immortan Joe and how all this happens. And that friend hasn't seen Furiosa yet, but I know that he will soon. And I can't wait until he does, because I'm going to hit him up and be like, dude, we need to talk because this is just going to blow our minds open even more. So yes, it is a fantastic action movie. You can have those wonderful dramatic moments and the funny moments. But I love it, the fact that you can walk out and do that, or we can be like, hey, Brooks, let's go to a coffee shop or a bar, get a drink, and then let's talk about this for a bit, because there's a lot more sub layers than people might think. Okay, I'm done.
Yes, and scene.
I mean, Brooks, one of the people Adam's referring to who said this movie is not deep is you. I mean,
Well, no, I didn't say it wasn't deep. I
Yes,
just
you
wasn't
did.
going to call anyone out.
Yes,
I was
you
trying to be
did.
very
All right.
anonymous.
you said it. So what do you think about what Adam has found in this story, all the layers? I mean, are you convinced?
I told you he was going to enlighten me tonight.
And Brooks, I was not going to say anything. I was purposely keeping it
Well,
vague.
it's-
I know.
Well, it's my job to go right after it, so I'm not afraid. But I mean, I feel like Adam's bringing up a lot of subtext that's really interesting to consider.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I can watch it again and now I'll have way more to think about.
And honestly, watching it a second time was very helpful, because the first time I'm just sitting there like,
Oh, yeah.
So you
bouncing
saw
up
it
and down on
twice?
my seat.
You saw
Yes,
it twice,
I saw
Adam?
the screening, and then I took a friend of mine and Clark to see it a couple days later in XD, which honestly,
Ugh.
it doesn't matter if it's XD or not.
No,
Just
I
do
saw it.
IMAX or Atmos.
I saw it
XD
in
takes
XD
me
as well.
out of the movie.
Yeah, it didn't need to happen in
Yeah.
XD.
Like,
It
just
was-
because the camera pans doesn't mean the seat needs to.
Yeah, I totally
Yeah,
agree.
it didn't subtract from the movie, but it wasn't worth the extra couple bucks to go see. No, IMAX or Atmos, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Atmos
that's-
for sure.
Yeah, that's worth seeing it. But this is one that, it's not doing well at the box office, and I have lots of thoughts about that we won't go into here. But definitely go see it on the biggest screen you can, in the best surround system you can,
Biggest and loudest.
while it's there. Exactly. Let it blow you into the seat like Dune Part 2 did to us.
I'm not surprised that it's not doing as well in the box office as it should, because
Well,
movies
nothing
that
is.
yeah, but especially Brooks, movies that require a little something from the viewer, and this movie
True.
does. This movie requires you to invest a little something. It requires you to maybe not do as much as Adam did in terms of finding subtext and interesting parallels throughout history, but you've got to bring a little bit of something to it, intellectually, emotionally.
You have to pay attention.
Exactly. So let's go to scores. I'm not sure it's going to be a huge shock. I think we all like this film a lot. I thought this movie had a thesis statement and it nailed it. It was supposed to do one thing. It was supposed to get us to Fury Road, to set up this incredible character that we saw in Fury Road and wanted so much more of. It had a huge job making that work, and it did it. So I'm at 4 stars. I think it was top-notch filmmaking from a visual standpoint, top-notch filmmaking from a script and directorial standpoint. It was perfectly cast, and it did everything it set out to do. So 4 stars. Brooks, where are you?
See, this is why I like when you go first, because you just say everything for me. Although I
But
will
we
add,
like hearing from you.
Please add. Please add.
yeah, but I will add that I think one of my favorite aspects of the movie, and one that people might not like, is how much time is spent with Furiosa as a child.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's unexpected.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I
It
was
is.
very surprised. It's like an hour
It's true.
until Anya shows up. And I was very impressed and surprised. And I think that made me love it even more.
We have
And it's-
said so many times that a kid can ruin a movie, like a bad kid actor. She's great.
Oh yeah, she's
Really good.
She's in the horror movie Sting about a giant spider loose inside an apartment building. And so now I need to see it.
Yeah, you
That's
do.
not my coming attraction, but I do need to
I
see
can't
it.
believe you haven't already seen it 10 times. So what's your score, Brooks?
An obvious boom, 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 boom.
4 rooms.
4 rooms up.
Adam?
So I was thinking about it after the fact, and the unnecessary cameo I mentioned,
I liked it.
I just didn't think it was needed, and it's literally a 10-second moment.
But the fact
So,
of how they did it is why I liked it.
It was pretty
No.
cool. I giggled when
Yeah.
Yeah.
that did that, and the CGI, like, again, I don't know why he did it. Like, it wasn't necessary. Like, you've proven yourself a better director, and you've done better with your special effects from that. But that being said, like, not only did I see it twice in theaters, like I would actually count, I would have gone to see it with you, but we were going to Pride, so
Right.
that kind of threw that monkey wrench.
Right.
And diving into it and seeing all the cool stuff I talked about, and more importantly, when a friend of mine gets to see it and actually, like, hopefully being able to sit down with him and just, like, dive into it like we did before, like, if I could give this 5 stars, I would, but we only go to 4. So easy 4-star movie for me. I would say that, Fury Road's in my top 10 of all time. I'm going to combine these two because they are technically one movie
I
to
think so
include them
too.
both in my
Yeah.
top 10. And I will be shouting from the heavens at the end of the year about not only awards for the Vice Martin category, but also I would say for supporting and main actor and female actor roles.
I'm going to be
Mhm.
talking about cinematography. I'm going to be talking about editing. I'm even going to be talking about directing at the end of the year.
I will not be talking about special effects. That's the
No.
one thing I will
No.
not bring up.
So for me, 4 stars. Brooks,
4 stars.
Adam,
4 stars.
we loved Furiosa. You got to go see it and see it in the theater. We're going to come back. I didn't mention this before, but our Guilty Pleasures is Fake Nose Edition because of Chris Hemsworth's ridiculous prosthetic nose. We'll be back in just a second. We're back on Big Movie Mouth Off. I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
And I'm Adam McDonald.
Guilty Pleasures, Fake Nose Edition. Brooks, you're first.
Well, I mean, it's probably going to be kind of a weird surprise, but I'm going with 2022's Matilda and Emma Thompson's weird nose.
That's a good movie.
Yes.
That's a
It's
good movie.
amazing.
Yeah, but
I was so mad when I saw it because it was then after our voting. They
Yeah.
didn't screen it for us.
no, I
They
know.
didn't even tell
There was
us it
no
was coming
push for it.
out.
Nope.
Yeah, all of a sudden it was just like I forgot it was coming out because there was no advertising for it. And then I was like, "Oh yeah." And so we watched it, and me and Sid were just like obsessed with the music. And then you got Emma Thompson's ghoulish nose.
And
That's-
if you ever
Business Trumbull.
get to see it on stage, it is an absolutely magnificent stage
Oh, I've
show as
seen it
well.
on stage too.
Okay.
Weird, right?
That's a great one, Brooks. Say it again.
Matilda, the musical film adaptation from 2022.
All right, so mine goes back a little bit farther, and the only reason I listed as a guilty pleasure is because I'm not totally sure how well Terry Gilliam's movies hold up.
Oh,
I'm talking about 1988's The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen.
I thought about that one.
One of my favorite movies of all time,
It's nuts.
not just for this topic, but of all time. John Neville plays Baron von Munchausen. He's got a terrible fake nose, and I don't know why, but that movie, it's got a very young Uma Thurman, obviously a lot of the Monty Python guys. It's just fabulous. And I'm not sure that people still love Terry Gilliam's movies the way I do. So again, like Matilda, this is a good movie. That's a guilty pleasure because it's maybe not a famous movie. So mine is 1988's The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen, Terry Gilliam, fake nose on John Neville. Adam.
I do have the criterion of Time Bandits, so
Oh
I'm
my
right there with you with that. So,
Yeah.
so mine is a more subtle. Okay, so I did research this. How fake nose was used. It was just more subtle. Very, very hugely acclaimed movie from a few years ago. It came out of Cannes. It won the Palme d'Or, and I'm talking about Titane.
Oh, yes. Who's wearing a fake nose in that movie?
The main actress, Agatha
Is she?
Rizzo. I looked it up. I was like, there's no way she is, because it came up under a Google list and it said, yep, she's wearing obviously lots of prosthetics, but it did say fake nose.
Wow.
So the internets may have lied to me, but either
All
which
right.
way, this
That
deserves to
movie
be talked about.
That movie is a harrowing experience.
It
Like
is amazing.
it's
Oh yeah.
it
It's
is
a
a
bleak comedy.
extremely bleak, but that is a incredible work of art, that film.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure if you'd seen it because I know we got it. Was it
Oh,
the
yeah.
Neon collection? I know
Yep.
we got it for something,
I
but
think
like,
we all watched that one.
We did.
but that was one that came out of nowhere. I was like, one of the few movies to like, what the heck am I watching? And then you get done with it and you're like, oh, I want to go back and watch it again, but not right now. I need to get over myself first.
So Titan is a lot of body horror in that movie, so just be prepared for that if you're going to watch it.
There is, it's very an adult film. There's a lot of
Very
nudity.
much,
There's,
yeah.
we'll just be honest, sex with very strange things you shouldn't have sex with.
Yep.
And again, body horror with a baby, and it's there's a lot to it, but
It's a work of high art, though. It's a
Pulls
very
no punches.
incredible film. So Adam, again, what's your guilty pleasure?
Titane.
From what year?
I believe it was actually last year, 2022, or not last year, but 2 years ago, because it was 2021 at Con, and I think we got it the year later.
It released in
So,
2022. Okay,
I
so
think so.
mine goes way back 1988. The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen by Terry Gilliam. Brooks?
Another 2022 with Matilda.
Honestly, we could have done 10 more fake nose guilty pleasures. There's so many fake noses in movies.
I almost went with Roxanne.
Hollywood is having a real fake nose moment right now with Bradley Cooper playing Bernstein, with Helen Mirren playing Golda Meir. All right, we're going to take our last break and come back and do our coming attractions on episode 20 of Big Movie Mouth Off. Stay with us. We're back one last time on episode 20 of Big Movie Mouth Off. Coming attractions, things we're excited about. I'm going to go back to film. I'm really looking forward to Jeff Nichols' latest film, The Bike Riders. It's got a great cast. I'm a huge fan of his films. I loved Mud. I love Shotgun Diaries. He did one of my favorite movies, Midnight Special. I just love this director so much. So I'm really excited about The Bike Riders. Tom Hardy, when well directed and well scripted, is incredible. Austin Butler, I have mixed feelings about, but I'm kind of excited to see him in this. There's a lot about it that I'm thrilled about. So mine is The Bike Riders. Adam, what's your coming attraction?
It's really funny you said when Tom Hardy is well acting and well directing, because he's probably not going to be in this, and it probably will be a guilty
Don't say
pleasure.
Venom 3. Don't say Venom 3.
The Last Dance. Yes.
I'm excited too.
Adam.
Don't
So
worry.
I love Venom since I was a kid. I've got lots of memories tied to that. And the new trailer just dropped yesterday or the day
It did.
before as we record this.
Yep.
And there's so much great comedic moments between him and the symbiote. Like the "We Are Venom" part where it takes him like 5 minutes to try to get it
so
together.
funny.
That's a classic line. It looks funny. He eats people's heads finally, which is what he does in the comics. It's probably going to be a guilty pleasure. It's also on my fantasy movie draft, so I hope it does well. I stole that from Rebecca Frost. If you listen, haha. But I love the movies. They're not good. I understand and accept that, but Venom: The Last Dance. I am so excited to see it.
You snuck in a guilty pleasure in the coming attractions section.
There we go.
because great and comedic are two words that do not apply to this film.
It's
I'm
coming
sure.
soon in 2 aspects.
All right, so Venom: The Last Dance for you, Adam. Brooks, what's your coming attraction?
I actually happened upon a trailer for something today for a movie I didn't even know exists or was going to be made. It's The Killer's Game. I just watched that trailer today with Dave Bautista, and
Oh.
it looks hilarious.
It does actually, yeah.
And
I just saw that
guess-
today too.
Yeah, I just learned the director, J.J. Perry, I guess, has taken the David Leitch approach because he's a former martial artist, stuntman, action director. So
You should
I'm
watch it,
very
Adam. It
excited.
looks really interesting. You should
it's
definitely
very
watch it.
violent.
Yeah.
Well, we don't mind
Viewers
that.
beware, but
Yeah. All right, so your coming attraction, Brooks?
The Killer's Game.
Adam?
Venom: The Last Dance, just to annoy you.
Barf. And mine is the bike riders. Guys, episode 20 is in the books. Thank you so much. We have one reshoot from the last episode. So, Adam, you were mentioning a Pixar film. You called it The Last Dinosaur. What is it actually called?
It's The Good Dinosaur.
The Last Dinosaur is a terrible movie from the 70s.
Ew, yeah.
So it was kind of a funny miss, but you meant to actually say
The Good Dinosaur, yes. I caught it though. I text
Yeah.
both of you. I'm like, I caught it. I got to reshoot.
you did catch it. I was in the middle of the edit and I thought, oh man, I got Adam on this one. But you texted me like almost before I was done. We won't always spend this much time on one film, but I think Furiosa deserved it. It's really quite a special experience. So
There's
Thank
not
you.
much coming out.
no, that's also true.
And I got to give a TED talk, which I haven't done before. So that was nice.
You really held court for a little while, Adam. That was nice.
I did. That
Yeah.
was that was my
Bravo.
jam. So
All right. Well, we will be back in a couple of weeks with probably 2 films. They probably won't be as good as Furiosa. But until next time, I'm Jeff Counts.
I'm Brooks Bird.
and I'm Adam McDonald.
Thanks for being with us. Big Movie Mouth Off was produced and edited by me, Jeff Counts, and co-hosted by Adam McDonald and Brooks Bird. Our theme music is written by Brian Z. Richards, and this show is dedicated to the memory of our founders, Jeff Michael Weiss, and my partner in crime for over 5 years, the incomparable Jimmy Martin.